Um, Gently rub your palms. Apply your palm on your face. Open your eyes. Okay. So today we are going to start the new subject of Yog Beej. Kindly confirm if my screen is visible to you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So when we are going to start the chapter, not the chapter, we are going to start the content of Yog Beej. Yog Beej will be having some of the common things which we are already studying from any other Hatha Yogic text. Okay. So let us go through the introductory part of Yog Beej, that what will be the context of Yog Beej. What will be the context of Yog Beej? We are going to see that how many verses are there, who is the writer, and all the other things. Just a general introduction is there in one single slide. If you are going to see, uh, if you're going to see, the main context of Yog Beej is Devi Parvati is asking some of questions from Anadi Anant Shiva. Okay. So this whole text is a type of conversation between Shiva and Shakti, where Shakti, who is Parvati, also named as Sureshwari, Bhavatishwari. There are some names of Parvati which we are also going to see in the upcoming context. So main thing is that main context of all this Yog Beej is a conversation between Parvati and Shiva. And there are a sort of 12 main questions which Parvati is asking from Shiva to understand about the real knowledge, to think of what is yoga, what is knowledge, and how yoga is superior from knowledge. If one wants to practice yoga, what will be the procedure? All the questions are there one by one asked by Parvati, and Shiva is giving the answers to each and every question one by one. There are total approximately 201 verses in this text. Date and author of this text is not known properly, but because the context of this text is very much similar to Guru Parampara, so if you get a option of Gorakshnath, you will tick up on that option where the Gorakshnath is written, because all the things which are told in this context, it is very much similar to Yog Shikhu Upanishad. Okay. Everything which you are going to see in Yog Beej, the same things you are going to study in Yog Shikha Upanishad. And that Yog Shikha Upanishad is from the books of Guru Gorakshnath. That's why you can say, if we don't know the direct connection of who have written the Yog Beej, because that is unknown, if you get an answer in context Guru Gorakshnath, you will take up on that. Okay. So as we have seen, it is a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. There, yoga has been described, a deep discussion about yoga has been done between Shiva and Parvati, because when the conversation started, Parvati was asking about how a person, how a human being has taken that birth, then how does that soul is placed inside the body, then if that person is there, the soul is inside there, there are so many emotions like ego, and person is doing so many different things with desires, then how can that person become free of all these emotions like lust and everything? So Shiva is defining the process of yoga, and there the yoga which he is telling to Parvati is of mainly three types, which is Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Mahayog. Mahayog itself is consisting of all the four which we are studying in any other Hatha Yogic text, which is Mantra, Hatha, Lay, and Raj Yoga. Okay, so just for the introductory part, the yoga types of yoga, if a question is there, how many types of yoga have been described in Yog Beej? Main are three, which is Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Mahayog. Or you can also think of it like six. Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Mantra, Hat, Lay, and Raj Yoga. If all the six are there in option, they will be the choice. But if Maha Yoga is there, the Maha Yoga will be coming in the place of Mantra, Hat, Lay, and Raj, all four. Okay, because Maha Yoga is a type of group of all four. So, so after that, the asana is described, only one asana is described in Yog Beej, which is named as not Vraj, it is Vajrasan. Just correct the spelling, it is Vajra. Okay, Vajrasan, which is also known as Siddhasan in normal practices. Then Kumbhak practices are of two types which have been described in Yoga Beej. One is Sahit Kumbhak, another one is Keval Kumbhak. And as same as the Yogic Upanishads, as same as the Hatha Yogic text, Sahit Kumbhaks are again are of some 8 or 6 categories like Surya Bhedi, Ujjayi, all these will be there. Okay. Then 3 bandhas are described there, which is Jalandhar Bandh, Udyan Bandh, and Mool Bandh. Then 3 main granthis have been described here, which are Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, and Rudra Granthi. Then one thing is there which is mentioned as Vest number Vastra. Vest number is the name of that cloth which was given by a guru to his shishya for when the shishya is completely dedicated towards the starting of the practice. So it is like a gift from the guru to the shishya for starting into the path of the practice, path of the yoga. So that vastra, that cloth piece is known as Vestanambar vastra, and that Western amber vastra is having a type of dimension, fixed dimension, which is the length of that vastra should be 1 vitasti, which is equal to 12 fingers, 12 finger of the space, like 4 finger, 4 finger, 4, this type of space. Okay, so 1 vitasti means 12 angul, and the breadth is almost of 4 angul. So you can think of it like almost a tall shape, okay, which we use for wiping up of the face. Then other names of Parvati which are described in Yog Beej are Sureshwari, Bhavatishwari, Surasundari, and Sundari. All these 4 names are there in place of Parvati. All these 4 names are also suggested for Devi Parvati. As same as when you read Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is talking to Arjuna, he is telling different names like Hey Parth. Parth is also the symbolization of Arjun. In the same way, the main one who is talking to Shiva is Parvati, but these are the other names suggested. Then Kundalini is also described here, which is carrying 8 rounds or 8 times of the spirals are there in Kundalini. Then Nadis, total of 72,000 Nadis are there according to Yog Beej. Then there are 2 types of siddhis explained in Yog Beej by Shiva to Parvati, which is one is Kalpit and second one is Akalpit. Kalpit means which one can imagine. Akalpit means which is unimaginable. Okay. Then some of the gems are described, that how many gems are there in a human body. Gems means in Hindi we say as money. How many mania are there in the spinal cord of a human being? These are 21 manies present in the spinal cord of a human being, which are very much connected to the Shat chakras in the spinal cord. Then there are 2 opinions on uh, there are 2 opinions on the life system of a human being, which is known as mat in Hindi. Like 2 names are there, Kak mat and Markat mat. Okay. So this is just in general introduction of Yog Beej. How Yog Beej is going to explain each and everything. Let us start with let us start it with the questions and answers. As we said that all this of Yog Beej is a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. So there will be some questions and there will be some answers. Questions will be from Parvati side, answers will be given from Shiva side. Okay. So let us start from the very first question. that before even the first question, there is a prayer of Lord Shiva. Like the same in Vasisth Samhita we have seen, when the son of Maharishi Vasisth, whose name is Shakti, he was going to ask the question from his father, from his guru. Before asking to the question, he was praying to his guru that by so many of the qualities, like, hey Guru, you are the one who knows everything. Hey Guru, you are the one who knows how to gain the knowledge. You are the one who have achieved it. Kindly let me know the same. That type of the thing he was telling to his father. In the same way, before starting the first question, Parvati was also saying the same type of things to Adinath Shiva, that hey Shiva, you are the one who is you are the one who knows everything. You are the one who is creator. You are the one who is destroyer. You knows everything. You know how to go through it. You know how to achieve it. Kindly let me know all the things. Okay. So she was praying first, and then she was asking the first question, that I want to know, if all the living beings there which are present in the earth, if they are covered by illusion of happiness and sorrow, then what is the way to get out of this duality, get out of this happiness and sorrow duality, get out of this love and lust duality? How to get out of it? If there is any path, how one can achieve, how one can enable to go into that path? And if one person is going into that path, that person is surely going to have some siddhis. Okay, but if that person is having siddhi, is it possible to achieve all these siddhis which one can achieve and destroy all these things, the old age, death, and disease? Okay, so the very first question of Parvati was very, very deep. And that first question is itself consisting three to four things. Okay. What are the three to four things? One thing she is asking of, if every living being is covered by illusion of happiness and sorrow, love and dust, all the dualities which are there, rag and dvesh, okay, then what is the way to get out of them? What is the way to liberate from these dualities? That path is the one that enables one to achieve all the siddhis. If there is some path, then is it possible to get the destruction of all old age, death, and disease? Then Shiva is giving the answer, the path by which one person get out of all these bondages and attain salvation. Because see, if one person is going all through these things, if one person is getting out of the illusion, if one person is okay with every situation of happiness and sorrowness, that person is surely going to have some control over his own body and mind, and that person is somehow achieving the stage of salvation. So Shiva is going to give the same answer, that the path by which a person can become out of all these bondages and that person can attain salvation is named as Siddhi Marg or Naya Marg. Okay. So this is the main answer. So you can keep this name in your mind, because if you see in overall, the first question, main question is, what is the way of liberation? And the main answer is the follow of Nayamarg or Siddhi Marg. One should have to follow this Nayamarg or Siddhi Marg to attain the salvation, to get out of these dualities and to liberate that person. And then in the same answer, Shiva is explaining the nature of Brahma, because when a person is telling you that you are going to attain salvation, what is the meaning of salvation? That you yourself is becoming Shiva. Your soul is becoming the pure soul. Your own personal entity is getting dissolved into the entity of Brahma, into the entity of Shiva. So Shiva is explaining that there is one entity which is known as Brahma, and Brahma is having some qualities in his nature, as same as Maharishi Vasisht was explaining the same thing to his son. Before explaining him what he will achieve, he is telling him that if you will achieve salvation, you are going to become something, you are going to become someone who is already there with these qualities. In the same way, Shiva is telling that Brahma is Nishkal, means artless. Brahma is pure, Brahma is peaceful, transcendent, fearless, which knows, which is known as a living being due to being covered with the sins and virtues. It means when that Brahman is covered up with a thin layer of sins and virtues, then it will be known as a living being. If a person who is a human being is present there without the sins and virtues, without the happiness and sorrow, without the rag and dvesh, then that person itself will become Brahman. Same type of the things have been explained in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, if you guys have learned it, that the properties of Ishwar have been described there. Okay, that Klesh Karm Vipak Ashayar Paramarashtaha Purush Vishesh Ishwaraha. It means Ishwar is the one, that one Purush who is beyond, who is above from all the klesh, karm, vipak, and ashay. That is known as Ishwar. And before that, Patanjali have explained what is Purush. Okay, Purush is the one who is having all the vrittis, klist, aklist, and every things are there in the chit of that Purush. So, if that Purush is able to go into the path of yoga and reduce everything one by one, the klesh, karma, vipak, and ashay, that Purush itself can become Ishwar. In the same way, if one person who become beyond, who take themselves beyond from the sins and virtues, all the dualities, that one person can become Brahman. Okay, that one person can become Brahma or Shiva itself. So in the question one, main context, if you will see, the question was, what is the way of liberation? And the answer is, the way of liberation or salvation is Nyamarg or Siddhi Marg. And in the same answer, nature of Brahma have been described by Shiva. Then, by after listening to this answer, Parvati get a question in his mind, that how did that one creature come into existence from God? Because see, here Shiva is explaining that if one wants to achieve salvation, that have to follow the Siddhiman. And then he is explaining the nature of Brahman. So Parvati get confused of it, that okay, there is some entity who is known as Brahman, who is Shiva, you yourself, and there is one another entity who is composed of this happiness and sorrow, this sin and virtue, this fear, non-peacefulness, impurities, who is having some type of the arts in their mind. Then how did that God compartment become into that creature? So that was the same question, second question, composed by Parvati to the Shiva, that how did that creature, which is human being, comes into the existence from the existence of God? So Shiva's answer is very, very simple, and you can understand it in the same way. Just like a bubble is created in water, in the same way, ego was created first in Brahma. It means in the very starting of the universe, there was only Brahma, and ego comes into the Brahma. Ego is like a bubble. Ego itself is having no entity, but ego means that one person thinks I am the one only. Because if there is a bubble inside of water, what is this? This bubble is having no existence at all. Because if you just put up one finger, air will blow out and water content is still the same. There is no extra volume of water, there is no extra volume of air in it. Everything is same, but only due to that covering of that bubble shape, that bubble itself is thinking I am the one who is existing. In the same way, Brahma is formless in the starting. When the ego comes into Brahma, that ego created the transformation of body. Okay. So, what is the starting of universe? Uh, by an example, Shiva is going to explain Parvati that as same as the bubble is created in a water, in the same way, ego was created very first in the Brahma by nowhere, without any of the external pressure, without any of the internal pressure, it popped up itself. Okay, that is why it is known as that Brahma created the world by Brahman itself. Then later, this ego, which is there in the Brahma, that ego was transformed into a body, into a human body, which human body is composed of five elements. Which five elements we already know: Prithvi, Agni, Vayu, Akash, and Jal. Okay. Then this body. Now listen to this carefully. When the second question is about how did the creature come into existence, this creature which we are talking about is the human being. So there will be some of the qualities of a human being. What are the things present inside a human body? So it can also become a question according to Yog Beej, which is not present inside a human body, or which thing is absent in human body. Now, if you see, five elements are there, it can be one option. Now, second, he is telling seven metals, these are also there. The qualities of Sattva, Raj, and Tam are there, and this body is associated with happiness and sorrow. It is also it is also permeated with so many of the emotions of living being. And at the end, if one becomes free from all these defects, what are the defects? Lust, anger, fear, worry, old age, birth, dreams, deep sleep, etc. Everything which we are concerned about, if one person becomes free from all these things, then that person is able to become Shiva. Okay, that person itself can become Shiva. So that is how Shiva is answering the question in a main context. As same as the bubble is created inside the water, ego is created inside the Brahman. Two similar things are there. Then that ego which is there inside the Brahman, that ego is transformed into a body, and that body is made up of five elements, seven metals, three qualities, and that five elements, seven metal, and three qualities. Kindly keep this in mind. These three things are told in Yog Beej for a human body. So, after making up of this human body, these emotions are there, these dualities are there, all the impurities, all the defects are there, which are lust, anger, fear, worry of old age, worry of birth and dreams, and etc. Everything. Okay. Then Shiva is again telling the path to eliminate all the defects also in the same answer. Because it is like when a student is asking you a question, just put yourself in the place of a teacher and imagine what answer you are going to give to that student who is asking you that how did that creature come into the existence of God. If you somehow came into that point, okay, your body, there is a person whose body is made up of with the ego, and there are seven elements, five elements, seven metal, and three qualities in the body. Surely you are going to have that thing in your mind that now the question will be there, how to eliminate the defects. And generally you will start answering the question without even asking that question. In the same way, Shiva is going to answer the question in the same way. He is telling that these all things are the reason that person is bounded in this universe, and these are the defects. So he himself is telling the path to eliminate all the defects without even asking. He is not giving the chance to ask this question. Okay, so he is telling, some people say that knowledge only is the solution. Okay, now that is very, very important thing. Some people understand and think of it only if you get knowledge, all these defects will be eliminated. But knowledge without yoga cannot help to eliminate and attain salvation, and the vice versa is same. It means if you have knowledge but you are not doing yoga, and if you are doing yoga but you don't have knowledge, in both of the cases you are not going to attain salvation. Knowledge without yoga cannot help, and yoga without knowledge cannot help. Shiva is telling both of the things. So by this answer, Parvati is going to ask the same question which is related to the last answer. Okay, then I understood. If the world is created from this ego or ignorance, then liberation from the world should be based on the knowledge only. Because if a person is telling you that everything is created due to the unawareness, anyone can think of, okay, if everything is created due to unawareness, if we make people aware of it, they will get out of it. But it is not working like as such. If you tell a student that you are doing it wrong, this is the right way, you are doing it wrong, this is the right way, even though that student will be having the knowledge, but if that person is not practicing it, that person is not going to correct his own way. Okay, in the same way, this question is almost similar, that Parvati is asking, if liberation is sorry, if bondage is created due to ignorance, then liberation should be achieved by the knowledge. Then what is the purpose of yoga in this? Why the yoga is so much glorified in this field? So Shiva is answering it in the same way as I am answering you with an example of teacher and student. Shiva is telling, okay, your statement is true, I understand, but think of it very clearly. If someone has realized already that, okay, I am the one who is Kevalya, I am having the form of Shiva in me, will that person be free from the defects by only understanding it? See, all of us who are anyhow connected to the yoga field, we somehow feel that okay, we are the form of Shiva. Shiva is inside us. Shiva is everywhere. Shiva is not any murti. Shiva is like an energy form who is placed everywhere. Okay, but after getting this knowledge, are we actually becoming Shiva? No. And same thing Shiva is telling to Parvati, that if a person is only getting the knowledge that I am Kevalya, I am having the form of Shiva, you tell me, will that person be free from all the defects like lust, anger, etc.? Just by getting this knowledge, is it possible to get the form of Shiva, even though you have that understanding? No, it will never gonna happen. Therefore, along with the knowledge, one is very compulsively have to practice yoga. Yoga is necessary, because even a person is going to practice yoga, what is gonna change? If a person is full of anger and that person started doing practice of yoga asanas, because if a person is having so much of anger, that person cannot practice ahimsa and all the yamas which are described in Patanjali Yoga Sutra and any other Hatha yogic text. So if that person anyhow jumps into the practice of yogasanas, that energy which is giving him anger, that energy which is not channelized, that energy which is there coming out in form of anger due to the due to not proper channelization of the energy, that person is going to utilize that same energy in the movement of body, and the anger automatically get reduced after a time period of almost 21 days or 1 month. So when that practice which is giving that person aim to shift the energy, that person is going to change its perspective. That is why it is said, when a person comes into yoga, his perspective of seeing the things will be changing. Okay, in the same way, if a person is going to practice yoga anyhow in any form, like from karma yoga, from bhakti yoga, from gyan yoga, any type of the practice which is connected to the field of yoga, if that person is going to enter into that, that person somehow is going to reduce any one of the defect one by one, one by one. And if you get any guru by God's grace, and you get the chance to practice Patanjali Yoga Sutra, not only learning, you get the chance to practice it. You will be becoming a yogi in the time period of 12 years if you are practicing Yam Niyam, if you are practicing Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, and all the things. Okay. So, in the same way, Shiva is explaining the things to Parvati. Then the fourth question comes from Parvati, that if pride is the nature of the soul, if ego is the nature of the soul, and is it is complete in it, it is pervasive, then even the defects which are there like lust, love, anger, etc., they are not different from the nature of soul. Because if you see a person who is angry, we say that the physical body is not angry. Anger is coming from something inside. Anger is a feeling, right? And who is the one who is getting all the feelings? Feelings are not of the physical body. Feelings are of the soul. Feelings are of the subtle body. Then Parvati is also telling the same. Okay, if the pride, if the ego is the nature of the soul, then what should be all these things coming from? Like lust, anger, all the defects are also of the soul, not of the human body. They should also be the nature of the soul, due to which it is not possible to completely get free from all the defects. That is like a cross question of Parvati. Okay, I understood you are telling one person has to detach from all these things and that he will be getting salvation. But is it actually practical? Because if you are a soul, you are having the ego, and you cannot get out of the ego, because ego is the property of your soul, and ego can only go out of you when your soul is not there. Then it is completely non completely a not logical thing to get free from all these defects. Then Shiva is again explaining the thing very clearly. Okay, listen to Parvati, listen to this. There are two types of perfections when we are talking about the detachment from all these defects. One is the gross and one is the net. In Hindi, the terms are sakal and nishkal. Sakal form is the one in which the ego emerges into the state of human body, gross body, and this human body is born. That is known as sakal. But the nishkal is one which is the purest form. When this form of soul is getting attached with ego, then only it takes the place of human body. But when it becomes pure again, it will be dissolving into the God again. So when a person is talking about the soul, soul itself is having the properties like soul is pure, peaceful, and there is no defect in the soul. Even the birth and existence is not there in the soul. But when that soul get connected with ego, that soul become like a bubble. That bubble was formed with the help of five elements and seven metals. Then that defects started coming into the body. But if the same person is there, and anyhow that person abandons this non-difference knowledge and remain immersed in the happiness and sorrow and attachment, all these things, that person is never going to get salvation. But if some person is able to endure all these situations out of his mind, out of his shit, and he get the knowledge, that person is not going to get attachment of these situations. That person can get salvation. So in the answer of this soul's nature, Shiva is telling him that soul is having two type of perfections. One perfection is that which is ultimate perfection, which is purest form of the soul, which is pure form of the consciousness. And one is that when your chit is getting all the vrittis in it, when your chit or when your mind is getting disturbed with all these defects. Then, sorry, then Parvati with this answer is getting again one question in her mind, that okay, I can understand if a knowledgeable person is there, nothing will be tough to know about this world for that person. So when that person knows that what is the nature of soul, why does he not attain salvation? Because see, in the third question, it was again the same question. If the world is created from ignorance, then what is the purpose of yoga in it? Because if a person is ignored, if that person get awareness, it should have to get salvation. So she's asking again the same thing. If there is a knowledgeable person and there is nothing left to know in this world for that person who is knowledgeable, when he knows what is the nature of the soul, why does he not attain salvation? That will be the next question. So now Shiva is giving him the answer. Okay, listen. There are two types of body. One is known as apakva and another one is known as paripakva. One which is apakva means the one which is not completely made up, okay, or which is not devoid of yoga, which is not uh, made up with all the practices of yoga. And paripakva body is that which contains all the components of yoga in it. So if a person is paripakva, having a ripe body, having a fire of yoga in it, that person only can become free from the sorrow, free from the lust, free from all the things which are known as defect. While those which are having unripe body, which are having a pakva body, they are inert and they are filled with sorrow. They are having so much of the emotions in them, so much of the dualities in them, and that's why these persons, even after knowing what is the correct, what is the nature of soul, they are not able to get out of it because their body, their physical body is not capable of it. Okay, so this concept of capability of the body is known as paripakva body, paripakva sharir, or apakva sharir. Paripakva is the one which is made up by the help of yoga, and apakva is the one which is not doing the practices of yoga and all that. So the next question will be, okay, if there exists some context of yoga in these two different type of bodies, now tell me how one, how I myself can understand the difference between that person is a yogi or not. Okay, so how do the yogis are behaving, how should we behave with them, and how do they die? Because now you are telling me the importance of yoga, so tell me in detail that who is known as a yogi, how that yogi is behaving, and how should we behave with them, how they are going to get the death. Okay. So Shiva is answering that with the influence of Yoga Rupi Agni, that Agni means that iksha of getting the learnings of yoga. Okay, Agni is like a little bit of light towards the awareness of yoga in you. If a person is getting influenced by that Yog Rupi Agni, that person can win over all the senses of his bodies. That means he will not be getting affected by all the senses and the qualities of five elements. It means that person is not going to get the imbalance of Vata curve. That person is not going to get any type of disbalance of the anatomical body, and that person even is not going to get any type of the disbalance in the emotions which are in the which are there in the body due to the senses. Even the gods cannot get such a body which is of a yogi's body. So there is nothing left him to do. Who him? He is talking about a yogi. There is nothing left for him to do in the world, and he is not affected by what he has done or what he is doing at the present. Whatever he has done, whatever he is doing, he is not connected with it. This is the same concept of this is the same concept of Bhagavad Gita, where Shri Krishna is talking about Nishkam Karma. Means whatever you are doing, just do it as of work you have to do, not what result you are getting from it. Okay, because whenever you are thinking, okay, I am doing it, I will get the result, you will get affected by the result also. You will get affected by that result which you are thinking in the future, and you will be getting affected in the work. Your work will not be that much efficient if you will be keep thinking about the result. That is why he is telling the same. If a person is having that sense of Yoga Rupi Agni inside his body, that person is able to win over all the senses. That person is having the win over the qualities of all five elements. It means that person can increase one element in his body consciously and reduce another element consciously. Even the gods do not have that power to control the inner elements of their body. That's why the gods cannot get such the body. And there is nothing left for him, because if you think yourself, if you will be having control over your body, if you are getting fever, you are having any of the bacterial infection and you're getting fever, think of it, if you have that control over your body, and without even taking the medicine without even taking any naturopathy treatment, if you just give a message to your mind that balance this, whatever is going on for the bacterial infection is depending on the agni. So you are telling yourself consciously to stop that agni, to reduce the intensity of agni for some time, so that that bacteria will not grow, that bacteria will die itself after a time of 48 hours. If you somehow win over your body and you are capable of managing these elements in your body, that which should have to be high right now and which must have to be down right now, you can conquer any of the disease by yourself without even getting any of the medicines or pills. Okay, so if you get this type of siddhi, you can say that bhoot jay siddhis. If you get this type of siddhi, there will be nothing else you want in your life, because whatever we are doing for this body. Okay, so in the same way, Shiva is telling that the person who is practicing yoga, there will be nothing left for him to do in this world, and he will not be affected by whatever has done and whatever he is doing. Okay. So these were the 6 questions, almost half of the Yog Beej, which we have seen today. Remaining 6 questions, we are going to continue tomorrow. So all of you which are right there in the class, if you guys have any question, any misconception or confusion, you can ask me. Okay, there is one more thing I want to ask to you guys. If you guys are comfortable with shifting the time from 6 to 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, kindly let me know the timing, which will be more comfortable for you. All of you who are there, kindly let me know.
मैम मुझे कोई इशू नहीं, 4 बजे से मतलब 4 बजे भी रख सकते हैं.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. 4 o'clock.
Okay, 4 o'clock is good. Sangeeta, is it okay with you?